Hey, we came from Budapest, Hungary. We came for just this festival, so we arrived in the morning and by the night we've gone. And we wanted to see how does it look like to have a tea festival with such a European tea culture. So a tea festival in Europe. And that's why we came here, and of course to taste teas and see how tea people in Czech have their own fun. What does the tea landscape in the Czech Republic look like? And there are about 7 of us, I guess, or 8, and one of us actually came from Vienna. The rest of us are from Budapest. We have a few tea houses there, like there is one. So the ones who are selling so-called gongfu cha, so this serious tea, if I could say, there are only like 5 of them. Japanese, 2 of them are selling Japanese and Chinese teas as well. There is one. There are 2 which are only selling Chinese tea, so that's about the selection. Now the 6th one is in opening, so they will open one from September. But you know, we just wanted to see how does it look like when tea culture is a critical mass, because at us it's sometimes people, you know, when you're telling what is your hobby, and we tell them we are drinking tea, and why is it a hobby? And I'm drinking it when I'm sick, and yeah, you shouldn't do that. You should do that when you are healthy, and you should do it for fun. And why? And do you put sugar in it? And no. And I remember one of the tea shop owners told me that there was a grandmother coming to their tea shop. It's in a shopping mall, and they told the shopkeeper that, okay, I would like that tea can, yeah, and it was a small one, I think it's a Japanese one, but really a one-person one. And the shopkeeper told them, no problem, it's 100 euros. And he was like, what? I wanted it for my grandchild for playing, and it's not a toy. No, it's a serious stuff. No, how can you stuff tea in that? I mean, it's too small. And no, so people look at the strangers sometimes. But each month we go out to the forest to have tea, and we are connected to multiple tea houses. So if you won't find us at one tea house, then you will find us at the other tea house, or we have some really important stuff to do.
All right.
And
how long it is that this tea culture started to grow in Hungary?
Well, there is the oldest tea house which we go to is 20 years old this year. It actually has connection to the Czech Republic because it's supplied from the Czech Republic, and the youngest is 1.5 years old. There is perhaps even a younger one, 1 year old. So there are. This is the time. It's more like, you know, because after this great economic depression, there were less people coming to tea houses. Now they are starting to come back, perhaps, but it's really hard to publicize this kind of passion. People just don't understand. Why don't we drink alcohol instead? And what's about sitting around a cup of tea? Yes, one of the tea houses is actually owned by a Chinese guy, and he's quite into pu'er teas, of course. He's buying and selling a lot of pu'er teas at home in China. In Budapest, of course, the volume is much less. So, but the thing is that when we told him that yeah, we drink pu'er tea, but we also drink this kind of tea and that kind of tea, and also inside China we drink this kind of tea and that kind of tea and Japanese tea, he was quite surprised because he knows Chinese teas and especially knows pu'ers, and since he's Cantonese, he knows the red teas of Canton, but doesn't really know like Taiwanese oolongs or Japanese teas that much. And the same goes for every other tea culture as well. There is also a Japanese tea room owned by a Japanese guy, and I know the guy who runs it. The guy who runs it actually loves Indian tea as much as I do, and loves Fang Guang Dansongs as well. And of course, you know, none of them are Japanese, so sometimes we meet him or drink tea together which are not Japanese. Of course, they are wonderful in terms of Japanese tea. They really do have a taste. It's exceptional, just like the pu'er guy has an excellent taste of pu'er. But this kind of, yeah, I drink Japanese and I drink Chinese, and I drink Indian, and I drink Taiwanese and African and so on. This is rare to see, I guess. Of course, everyone has their preference. The preference might even shift, but it's important, I guess, to know all the teas. Not all the teas of the world, but also it's an interesting thing. Where do you draw the line? Because some people say that they only drink Chinese. Some people say that they only drink teas which can be steeped multiple times. Some people say that, okay, we only drink teas which contain tea itself. Some people say, okay, caffeine, so mate is still fine. Other people drink rooibos. Other people will drink hibiscus as well. So and then flavored, non-flavored. So it's blurry, real blurry. The Czech community is much more bigger, and therefore the approaches are pretty wide. And although we came here at Tea Festival, and it's a mix because some people expect us to know what is goshu. Of course, we do know what is goshu, but you know, we are into tea drinking for more than 5 years. So, and other people start to explain from, okay, this tea is from Yunnan. Yunnan is part of China, and inside Yunnan we are from pu'er. So I guess that there is a different levels here as well in terms of tea drinking, but the audience is much more wider, and also therefore the people who know tea there are many more people who know tea well. You know, when I started to drink Gongfu tea, I was already drinking tea for like regularly, like weekly, like for 10 years already or something. Not 10, but let's say 7. And I went to a tea house and they asked me, okay, how much do you know teas? And I said I know them really much. And so they offered a Darjeeling, I guess, in a Gongfu tea set, and I was like, what's this? Oh yeah, this is your hot water, this is the pitcher, this is the can. And I was like, okay, shall I make it myself? Yeah. And I was like, wait, and I wanted to wait 1 minute or something, and what are you doing? It's 10 seconds and that's it. so that's when I started to drink serious tea, so to say. In Hungary, the specialty coffee shops are on the rise right now. So where you can drink actually good espresso and single origin coffee and so on, and we try to introduce the tea culture there as well, but people just don't expect the tea to be different. I mean, you know, they have an image of the tea with paper filters and mostly fruit teas, because, oh, we don't want caffeine, but we would like a coffee, and do you have any kind of tea without caffeine? And we like, you know, so people just don't expect the tea to be different. So we don't know yet how to move from from the current state to the next level where tea is mainstream, just like in the Czech Republic. We don't know if we want to. I mean, part of our heart wants to, the other one, you know, tries to keep this subculture as a subculture. But still, I hope that one day it will happen, because then I will have more access to teas. There is a Facebook group for serious tea drinkers. The administrator of the tea group is right with us. It's called Chiga, or Snail Tea Group, and it vowed to be independent of tea houses because rivalry between the tea houses is unfortunately still common. So you can't advertise any tea houses compared to the other, but we try to keep it safe from brands and places. So there is this informal organization, but normally the different tea events are either held even informally compared to that, or by a certain tea house or place, or even sometimes web shops run events, which are quite surprising, but you know, they need to popularize their products as well. That group, so general information about tea, is either published by the tea houses themselves or by tea lovers in that group, and we don't really have good books in Hungarian, I guess, about it. So the tea houses regularly post information about tea, and of course, you know, the best information source is that when you sit down with someone knowledgeable about tea, either an owner or executive director of a tea house, or someone who just into tea or been to China many times, and sit down with them, drink a tea, and then you learn a lot. I guess this is the main way to gather knowledge. Of course, they can send you links, and of course, I always say that never buy tea which you never drank, and never drink tea which you haven't smelled. So it's important to have a personal connection to the tea, and the most information you can get is always your taste buds, so your own taste buds and your own smell. So in order to understand tea, you have to drink a lot of tea. This is the basics, I guess. And we do that. We drink from multiple sources, multiple tea houses, multiple ages. Sometimes we do runs where we would like to taste all the pu'er teas of a single hill, or all Taiwanese oolongs available in the country, or are all first flush Darjeelings of 2016, or something similar. So sometimes we are topical, or sometimes we compare the same pu'er tea from the same factory between years. So that's also one way to know tea. There are different ways, but first off, of course, you have to learn all the different ways of making tea. Well, the first time I remember I drank tea was when I was 2 years old, and it was from you know, what do you give to babies, which has this plastic ending. So I was literally sucking tea, and tea for me was always with sugar and lemon, and normally it was a brand called Sir Morton. Just for comparison, one box of Sir Morton costed like 12 kronas, or so that was the price. And of course it was very cheap black tea. It's powder tea. And then when I became a young teenager, I've decided that I want to, you know, I always liked tea, and I wanted to make it professional. So I read the infusion instructions, 3 minutes and 100 degrees. And English style. So first heating up the cup, a big cup, and making it 100 degrees and covering it, and then I never liked the mood of pubs, at least the pubs of that age. Different reasons, and I never liked the mood of coffee shops either, because they were full of sweets, which I shouldn't eat that much. And one day I ended up at a tea room, and I realized that yeah, tea contains no sugar, and it's still great to drink, and it has just the mood I want. And so I started to visit tea rooms. And when I was about 18 when I started to visit these tea rooms, and when I went to Budapest to study at university, I visited a lot of tea rooms. Of course, first dates and even business meetings were in tea rooms, and that's how I ended up at a serious tea room where they served me bongfucha. And then I started to look for this tea, and first I thought that yeah, I know a lot of teas like tea Kuayin, different kinds of Darjeeling, and then I started to visit one particular tea room when I learned a lot of teas. Then I started to visit others as well, and then I learned about the differentiation. And right now, if you give me a pour, it's likely that I'm able to tell its age. And if you give me a Darjeeling tea and it's from a shop, I know, or a garden, I know, I can tell you which garden is it. Is it second flush, first flush, or even in between? Or I can easily differentiate between a Taiwanese or a Chinese oolong. Even the type of oolong, of course. Not every tea do I know in the same level. So I know most of the Siaguan brand pu'ers, or a lot of Bankai Dai pu'ers, but yeah, so I can differentiate between the brands I know and the tea shops and what they sell. So what is sold in the tea shops I visit. But for other teas, and this is why we come here, because we know the selection of our tea rooms, and we know the selection of what is available in Hungary. But of course, this is a much bigger culture, so perhaps we are able to taste a different Taiwanese Alishan, for example, or a different brand of pu'er, or a different brand of white tea, or a different sencha, or you know, because yes, we know like Yunnan sourcing teas, and we know Menkai teas, and we know a lot of different teas, but not all of them. You can't know all of them, but we would like to broaden our knowledge. Each tea has a different mood, brings you a different mood, and it's for different occasions, and basically some tea means for me concentration to work, so simply it's caffeine. It gives you the same functionality like coffee does. Some teas for friends to share. Sheng pu'ers are like this. Some teas to cheer you up when you are down. Some teas to make a situation more intimate, not necessarily with a girl, but in general. Some teas to forget your troubles, and we use it instead of alcohol, I guess, and instead of a lot of other drugs. So in the tea world, you can have all of these in one single. Well, not really single, because of course you have to have lots of different teas, but still from the same plant, so to say. And this is why we drink a lot of them, I guess. So for us, of course, tea is also a way of life. This is a chadao, the way of tea, and a lot of friends are connected through teas because we meet on tea events, and of course, you can't just have a shankware at home. You have to share it, and this is what we do. So for me, tea is also a community of friends who are drinking the tea and who are somewhere there right now, trying different teas. Perhaps I should join them soon. And it's a community of very colorful people. You know, from hardcore engineers to astrology believers and consultants, and from really young people like 16-year-old to really old people over 70. It's still something which unites us. So the love of tea, and so I guess this is it. So for me, it's a replacement of all the other drugs, including coffee, including alcohol, including smoking, including everything you can imagine, and then still a tea room serves just like a pub. It's a community meeting place for like-minded people outside of your work environment and outside your family environment, and it's some place where you can just go in, and it's like a second or third or fourth home, where you just go in, everyone knows you, they ask you what would you like to eat or drink, and you just have fun with friends. And sometimes you have a private session, even with one tea or the two of you. Sometimes there is a big gathering of 8 people drinking the same thing. Because, you know, the great thing about shankware and all the multiple steeping teas is, I guess, that, you know, since it makes it so many portions, that you can just, you know, 8 of you can share it. At New Year's Eve, there were the 12 of us drinking the same tea, and it lasted 50 infusions. And I was really glad that we were there for 3 hours drinking the same tea, and it was how the year started. At 2 a.m. we gathered at one of the tea houses, and I offered one of my teas. It's a really old shankware, and there were somehow 12 different cups on the desk suddenly, and the next thing we knew is that it's nearly 5 a.m. and we are still there drinking the same tea and talking to each other. So this is what it means. Community and drug replacement, or not really drug replacement, because by now is itself a drug for us.
What an ending. All right. Well,